afternoon, it's Gene from the maverickstar Observatory. We have been continuing work with the building of the new page. It's going to be a little bit more time yet. There's quite a lot of information that we're compiling, and we're going to be doing that once a week for you guys. But on another note, what the hell is going on? Is the world about to fall apart before our eyes? Nearly 900,000 people since the lockdown have lost their jobs here in the UK, and I know this isn't just related to the UK, this is globally. You know, we know that those migrants that even travel to places like India to do the manual labour have not had work because of the lockdown, so you can imagine how hard they're finding it. But 900,000 people, guys, is a lot of people. And even if 5 or 10% of those people are going to lose their homes, that means there is another hedge fund which is going to benefit from those default swaps. Yeah, and that's what I wanted to talk about in this video. Around 2007, 2008, there was a lot of people in the United States that had taken out mortgages that couldn't afford them, clearly, and you know, there was a hedge fund that was going around buying up all the default swaps. I don't know the exact ins and outs of these deals and how they was putting big piles, and you know, these hedge funds brought them up. But I do know this, is that when it was announced that there was a big collapse in the housing market, these hedge funds made millions of pounds. And these same hedge funds, I bet you, if you look into the details of this, will be buying up these swabs, what they know people are going to be going bankrupt by. I'm pretty sure with today's technology, if you know the company that is going bankrupt, you also can probably find somewhere along the lines the details of those people and those people who have mortgages. And you know, it is only inevitable that at some point you know, these people are going to start losing houses. But I'm just saying, the wolves are out there looking for their chunk of meat right now, and they are looking for the vulnerable, and we are seeing plenty of those here in the UK. I'm sure you are in the United States, Canada, Australia and the rest of Europe. It seems to be this time a global, you know, anomaly that is taking place, and people are being exploited simply for profit. There will be plenty of people that make a lot of money out of this. This is the day and age that we're in. And you know, 2007 was like 13 years ago. That was the last big feeding of the trough for the pigs. And it isn't going to be another 20 years before something else comes up, unless this behaviour is stopped. You know, there used to be procedures in place for stock traders. I think it was the Glass-Steagall Act, not 100% sure on that, but it used to regulate them, and that was abolished. And that sort of like led them to, you know, go about their business lawlessly. You know, we've heard of companies that have went into people's pensions and stole those as well. And right now, if you're a pensioner in the UK, apart from probably feeling a little bit vulnerable to the COVID-19 pandemic, you know, you're not completely 100% safe with your pensions. Because I just want to take you back to that time, I think it was in the 80s, where Maxwell fell off the back of his yacht, probably into an ocean full of money, we'll never know, but you know, all those people's pensions was lost as a result of that, wiping out their retirement. Nobody is safe from the wolves, that's all I'm saying. So, you know, make sure you do have a plan A and a plan B. I'm not going to give anybody any financial advice. I'm just going to give, you know, some accounts of my experiences. I've had a few businesses in my time, and I went to now call it a day. And it's hard in business to do that, especially if you've had this business for a long time. We've seen companies over here in the UK like Woolworths that have been around 100 years, and when they go into Meltdown, they go into Meltdown owing millions of pounds. And you know, the owners of these companies usually end up bankrupt and on the streets. And not always the case. I know some of them are very shrewd and they have, you know, a little bit of a rainy day fund tucked away. But I just want to say this: You know, you've got to know when to cut it loose. And why am I saying this? Well, I'm simply going to say this because if you look at the maths right now, we're probably approaching 500,000 cases in the UK. We've got a population of 65 million. In order for it to travel through the population, in order to achieve herd immunisation, it is going to take many, many years. And if you're in business right now, are you prepared to lose everything you've got in a hope that, you know, this matter will clear up soon? I'm just saying, it's not going away. Even if it's, you know, a real pandemic or not, the effects of, you know, what is taking place with regards to this right now are financially damaging. We've got to remember what the Bank of England came out and said at the beginning of this pandemic. We could see half the world's wealth destroyed. That's a lot of money. So half the money in your pockets could disappear. You know, if you've got a mortgage now and you feel you might be at risk, you might have to sit down and do some really serious thinking, especially if you're like a lot of people that have pushed it a little bit further than perhaps what you could afford in order to get that dream house of yours. You know, you really need to think now about what your situation is going to be like in 12 months, 24 months, and, you know, a lot longer into the future. Now, we are having problems starting to stack up on us. I believe we've hit a major hurdle in the gauntlet already, and as a result of that, we are going to now start cascading into one problem after the next. It could lead very easily into a global economic meltdown, something that has been on the cards for a long time. We thought it was because there was overprinting money, putting this fiat currency into the system which had no wealth and simply devaluing the money. But what we're seeing is something completely what we didn't expect. It's probably been somebody's major plan all along to, you know, achieve this situation, because, you know, there is always somebody that exploits a real bad situation for other people. And sadly, you know, this is becoming more effluent in our today's society. Just like, you know, you could consider it a, you know, a coincidence that this very thing was talked about not only in the history of the account of humanity in the Bible, but also what will happen in the future. Simply, when people's hearts become corrupt, greedy and wicked, society seems to crumble and nature seems to give you a good kick up the arse. Now, we haven't just got the effects of this which haven't even come close to reaching that word I use such a lot, but really can be deployed in a lot of situations. I'm talking about equilibrium. We haven't reached equilibrium here in the United Kingdom. We certainly haven't in other countries around Europe and the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, etc. You know, this matter is going to continuously get worse for us all, and we are at some point, you know, going to find ourselves making very difficult situations as a result of that. You know, the jobs are hard to find now, and on the grapevine I've heard a couple of people talk about 11,000 people going for one job. You know, we are hearing these employment agencies, you know, give people now on the radio special advice on how to apply for a job. You know, we're going to start seeing more and more skilled, qualified people doing lame jobs just to get by. And I know that you'll do it. And, you know, I'm just trying to say to you, you know, I've been there in business, and I know that if you are clutching for luck, then it's probably unlikely ever going to happen unless you make it happen for yourself. It's so easy, you know, to believe that the storm will clear and, you know, things will get back to normal. But right now, I can't see how businesses can continue doing and, you know, functioning normally with the current situations that are at place. And, you know, I'm even laughing right now about the way the government are handling this. You know, 1 minute, you know, they're saying 14 days for, you know, what is it? isolation, and now they're trying to get it down to 7. At first it was 2 metres separation, now they want it down to 1, because they realise, this space is about money in business. If you own a restaurant, the idea is to get as many people into your restaurant at one time as possible. Not half your custom. That's not the idea of restaurant businesses. It's getting traffic through the door, but if you've got to separate people by 2 metres, you can't do that. I'm starting to see it more so now that there are queues outside of shops here in the UK, and I'm not the only one that's doing this. You take one look at the queue, which is reaching outside, and you say, I'm not prepared to wait in the queue in order to purchase that. Well, that will be losses for that business, and losses for more than one reason. One, they can't have the amount of traffic in their stores anymore, and 2, people just aren't prepared to wait in the queue and more prepared to do without. So, this situation is going to get a lot worse, and we are going to see an incredible amount of redundancies as soon as the furlough system stops at the end of this month. And we probably will see this once the government assistance stops globally. We will see probably the beginnings then of a major meltdown. We're still in 2 to 4, maybe 7 years maximum. We are efforting our best estimation on when that will happen. I'm talking about the pole shift, which is going to be worse than COVID-19, and I don't think the governments are even prepared for it. And there's still a lot of unanswered questions with regard to what to expect. Is it an excursion? Is it a reversal? Is it a complete loss of the magnetosphere constantly, like what has already been shown to us can happen in our solar system with our neighbouring planet Mars? A lot of things to think about, guys. Yes, certainly growing food for yourself at a time where things are not going to be so readily available in the shops because of the shortening of the arable land going offline, not being productive due to flash floods, droughts, etc., severe cold winters and cold spells. We've got it all to come, and this is really just scratching at the surface, and yet we are starting to see some real big shifts that are starting to affect us all. So I'll end it here. I think I've given you enough food for thought, and really just bear that in mind. If you are self-employed, you might want to think about some of the things I've said. Please, I can't give you financial advice, but please, really give it some thought, and do not think that you can bear it out and bear it out and bear it out, because what happens is you put more and more of your personal money into that business. You probably even start borrowing as a result of that. It may be an opportunity for you and time now for you to probably look at something else that is probably a little bit more steady until the climate changes. I mean, we have seen some big companies make that decision for the best, and I feel that is the right advice. If I was a financial advisor or business consultant, I would be saying to people, well, how much damage has been caused over the last few months, and are you prepared to withstand that sort of damage or worse? And if not, you must then consider closing the doors and taking what you've got out now, so that you have something, and not going another 6 months into this where you will come out with nothing. Again, I can't give you financial advice or any other advice. I can just relay the facts to you as I see it and from what I have learned. So give that some thought. The only other thing to say is a big thanks. Yesterday there was a bit of support. I really can't work it out. We got a couple of people to pledge a bit of support for the channel. Not a great deal of money, but something is better than nothing, and I'm always happy when we've got a little something to play with there. It helps keep us going at least. We are getting closer to the 17th of the month again. Doesn't it go around so quick? Where we'll be popping the SD cards out the Trimag and the magnetosphere, and we might even have some data from Hong Kong or one of our other locations around the world, and I'll relay that up to the website. And meanwhile, I'm building that new page. I believe now that Canada, Kendall, one of our superstars, recently has joined us, has got his magnetometer now set up for the month's reading, and it'll be really interesting to see month in, month out how that data comes in, because we know Canada is one of the fastest dwindling high intensity regions on our planet right now, second to the South Atlantic anomaly, of course, which is obviously the lowest, but we know what's going on with Canada. It is its field strength is diminishing, the pole has left Canada and heading towards Russia, and at the same time Russia is increasing in field strength. So yeah, so I'm going to leave it here, guys. A big thank you to those people that support us on Patreon, and big thank you to those few that chipped up to the line yesterday and helped us. And if you want to become one of those people, and trust me, now is a good time. It really is a good time, because I can't bear to see these voids every day, and the silence of no support. There's a link down there, and that is it. It's not mandatory, but we go nowhere simply when a public funded website isn't funded by the public. Okay, guys, you have a great day here in the UK. We've got some beautiful weather. I think I'm about to have my third shower because I'm just dripping of sweat, and having to fix the car this morning because it broke down on me. I'm just shattered, and I'll say what I usually do, guys. Have an amazing day. As always, bye for now.